supply, or the illusion. I like to call it the illusion of the new supply. I don't think they ever have a true new supply. I think they are always working up on something, because the narcissist is always running around looking for some other supply to be down with their team. Okay, because it's never going to be you and the narcissist as a team. So you're going to be on the team. Y'all are not going to be the team. You're going to be on the team. Let's be clear. Let's get that 100% clear. Okay? So don't ever think that you're going to be with the narcissist and you're going to be just the only one. No, boo-boo. They do not roll like that. No, it's gonna be you and several others. Yeah, they're always looking for supply. So we may think that they're with the new supply, and a lot of times that is the case. But there are some cases. Watch this. There are some cases where some of you that are watching this video, woo! Some of you that are watching this video came out of the relationship with the narcissist, and baby, you torched the path after you left. Woo! Yes, indeed. You torched the path, okay? You came out of that thing in a blaze of glory, and you flipped the script when you came out of that thing, and after you got past the hurt. And if you did it like this, because I'm about to tell you how a boss chick would have done it, or a king boss, okay, or a queen boss, however you want to term yourself, okay. Let me just tell you, if you did it like a boss when you left, and you bossed up, and you totally came up on every level, and you looking and smelling, and I mean just feeling like you had never felt before. I'm talking about you are just straight doing the doggone thing, okay? After you left out of that relationship, yeah, the narcissist is hiding. Because guess what? The flying monkeys, the brigade that has been put out to keep a watch out on you, they're reporting back to the narcissist what's going on. And if he told the new supply who you were, because he want to triangulate you, he probably mad about that. Because the new supply he probably told the new supply all types of lies about you and everything else. And the new supply looking at you like, woo, this person right here got, I don't know, maybe you made a mistake, or maybe you gave me the wrong person, because man, the person that you're telling me about, they are doing some pretty fabulous things. But they're probably not going to tell the narcissist that, because the narcissist told all kinds of untruths, all types of lies about you to the new supply. But when you leave a relationship with a narcissist, okay, and you take that situation and you throw that in your hat as lesson learned, and you turn around and you boss up, you level up, and you give life everything that you should have given it with the time that you were in that addiction ship with the narcissist, and you just turned around and you just made all types of fabulousness happen after either you left the narcissist or the narcissist left you. Oh baby, they hiding. You're not gonna find them on the gram. You're not gonna find them on the book, because you lighten the book up. Or what they call it, Facebook or Facebook, they call it, I don't know. Anyway, you lighten the book up with those fabulous photos that you got going on. You lighten the gram up. I mean, it's litty all over your social media. It's litty. It's lit. What you think the narcissist is gonna do? choice. You leveled up. You bossed up after the discard. Basically, what you did was you put the narcissist to complete shame. Every lie that they told about you or told on you and told their whole brigade, the flying monkeys and everybody else, every lie that they told on you because you leveled up and you bossed up after the breakup, they're having to eat every last one of those lies. Every last one of them. So watch this. So now, because of everything that they said about you in the smear campaign, they're having to eat that. You done sent them in tucking their tails and limping like a dog with 3 legs. They can't take that. They can't be on the gram when you lighten the gram up like you doing. You lighten the book up like you doing. Where you think where they gonna go? Cause all of the flying monkeys are on the gram. They on social media too. They watching. But guess what, baby? What they got to report is not what the narcissist wants to hear. So yeah. There are some times where the narcissist, you can put that narcissist to shame. And you know, when you see them hiding and you can't find them, they went turn their little lights off on social media. You can't even see them. They are ashamed, baby. They are ashamed of themselves because you are just living your best life. And they can't take it. They cannot take it. And guess what? They don't have a new supply that would even come close to what you were. Yeah. Even the whole team that they got going still can't match the one you that they lost.
Ooh, wait.
Yeah, they hiding. Yeah. They are hiding, darling. Look, the narcissist does not want to see hide nor hair of you or anyone that is, watch this, associated with you.
Ooh, wait.
Because see, they expected you to lay down and die.
D-I-E.
Once that discard happened. But you didn't do that. You let them know that I'm bigger and I'm better than that. And I'm even, look, and I'm greater than my circumstance. Watch this. Come on here, word, because greater is he who is in me than he who is in the world. See, the narcissist miscalculated you, baby.
D-I-E.
They did. Because, baby, let me tell you, when you decide to be better than your circumstance, and when you decide that you are not going to lay down and die for another human being that had absolutely no right to pronounce judgment over you nor your soul,
D-I-E.
and you get right on up out of that pit that the narcissist tried to throw you off in, okay. Yeah, they got to hide.
Okay.
They do. And I recommend that they would, because what they see, when they see you winning and shining like you doing,
they do.
It's going to make them hurt even worse. It's going to
trigger
near slay them like your fabulousness is doing each and every day.
Ooh,
so,
wee.
Listen. My strategy here is keep living your best life, honey. You keep bossing up, you keep leveling up, and you keep giving that narcissist something to look at that they never, ever, ever wanted to see. And that's you winning and shining without them. Oh, yes. Because, see, they had you pegged wrong, baby. They did. But it's all good.
Ooh-wee.
It's all good. It's all good. But guess what? They get to look at you now from a rear view. And every now and then you could just kind of look back and say, wonder how the view looks from back there. Yes, I said it. How does the you look from back there? Yeah, just think about it. Because you don't want to give them any conversation for what? For what? That's done and over with. Done and over with. So, yeah, there are some times when they are hiding because you have just shamed them with all of the success and the fabulosity that you have going on, and you bossed up and you leveled up after you got past the circumstance of being in that happenstantial situation, addiction ship. You bossed up and you leveled up. And look, and now you glowing and you blowing up. And that is a wonderful thing. And I am super proud of you if that is what you have done. And you got them hiding, honey. So yes, they are not always hiding because it's new supply. Sometimes they're hiding because guess what? That real one that got away just put them to some real shame. Yes. So you keep blowing up and you keep blowing up. All right, y'all, to the next video. You all be blessed and highly favored, and I will see you at the top. Until then, ciao.
And welcome back to Balanced Psychologies. As always, I hope that you're doing really well. So today's video, we're talking about the narcissist identity disorder. There is no identity. And this is what we're talking about. Who are they? Why they don't have any identity and they take on yours. And what is the meaning of not having an identity? How does it impact you? What does it mean? So we're going to be looking at all of this in the video. Just before we get into the video, I do want to mention my Patreon members. Thank you so much for being a patron in my membership. Just quickly want to mention, we do live streams every fortnight. There is a podcast, there's worksheets. These are all resources to help you alongside your healing. These resources are there to empower you and make you feel confident and strong. Okay, so let's get into the video. The narcissists, why they hide themselves. Narcissists don't have a real personality. Even though their character, their personality may seem disordered, they don't have a fixed identity. The issue is in the character. The issue is in the personality disorder. That's what we're talking about. Disordered personalities, not understanding themselves, being nasty, being derogatory. These are all ego processes. The way that they behave, the way that they interact within their environment, the way they interact socially, all is disordered. I came across this information that I think really describes narcissism really well. Identity disorder. The narcissist doesn't seem to have an identity. Instead, they borrow and they steal ours. Okay, so what do I mean by that? They mirror, okay? They mirror. And this is done for a variety of reasons. Firstly, because they have no real self, no depth of character. Something has been missing since childhood. So they imitate somebody else's in a bid to become accepted by their social circle, but also to fit in to their surroundings. This is all about the big ideal self. This is the ideal self. This is the illusion that they portray to everybody. This isn't a real projection or a real them. They're not authentic in themselves. So they project out there to be somebody completely different because they're hiding one vital fact. They don't like themselves. They don't want anybody else to know who their real selves are. In actual fact, there is a lot of shame and guilt underneath that basically motivates this behavior. And that's why they do this. That's why there is this big false self. That's why the mirroring happens. Think back to the beginning of your relationship with the narcissist. It was all about being the best version of themselves, being somebody that they thought you would really like. It wasn't really authentically themselves. So as time went on, you then realize that, hold on a minute, this really isn't them. So this is what we're talking about. There's no fixed identity. There's no real identity. Who are they really? Who are you really? This tactic is also used on us when we try to lock us into a relationship. They will imitate a person or a soulmate so that we will get into a relationship with them, so that we will like them, so that we will accept them. And this is a bizarre behavior, and it's part of this need that they have to be accepted, not to be different, to be the same as everybody else, to not stand out, because already in their minds they feel separation, they feel isolated from other people because they know that they are a little bit different. They know already that there's something different about them. And this difference exists in their delusional mind. Having suffered the abuse that they have, they want to disguise it by pretending to be somebody else. And that really is the crux of it. They disguise it by pretending to be somebody else. You see, identity is something that defines us. You could say our character, our stamp on the world. What do you want to be recognized for? This is something that is rather personal and intimate. To have it imitated or copied without permission is almost like plagiarism or identity theft. It almost seems like an attack on you. The opposite of the false self is the authentic self. The authentic self is the core of who you really are, not what people tell you you are or what you should be. The you is defined by people who do not really know you, the doubters, the critics, and the others who see the part of you that you choose to show. It's the you that you talk about to the people and know you best, and whom you can trust to be yourself. But you have to be careful with your vulnerabilities. But you see, narcissists can't afford to be vulnerable at all, especially not to themselves. Remember, they need to believe the lie. So they make up this fictitious false self who is everything the narcissist is not. The entitled, the superior, the inflated and grandiose self fed by narcissist fantasies and what they can squeeze out of their sources of narcissistic supply. It's kind of like, do you know when children, you want to be present and you basically pretend to be a character? You know, you use your imagination and you become your favorite kind of film character or TV character and you reenact the scenes of the show. You have to really believe you're the character and feel yourself in the scene. And this is called method acting. And I know that I have touched upon this kind of like in other videos or other posts, but it's the same principle. Reenacting a character and truly believing that you are that individual in that life or in that scenario. Narcissists have to believe that lie. They have to believe to the core that what they are doing is the truth, it's really them, and they are hiding, and this is why they are their false selves. And remember, this is what we've talked about in other videos. This is part of their side-splitting of psyche. This is when they were children, they weren't accepted as themselves. Their parents or their parent didn't accept them the way that they were, so there had to be conditions to their love. In order to be accepted, the narcissists realize that they can't be their real selves. So this is where the split in psyche, in personality and character basically comes from. And that's why they do that. So as they get to adulthood, there's no different. What they're doing is they're mirroring your behaviors. They're kind of reflecting back to you what you want in a person because they want you to like them. They want you to accept them. And once you do, that means that they are comfortable and then they are themselves. You know, it's a sad realization, really, that you have to kind of like pretend to be somebody else because being your authentic self is not an option because There is no you. You begin to see just how delusional these individuals really are, how the veil between reality and fantasy is paper thin, which blurs the opportunity for sanity and wellness. This is why when they are caught in the truth, they cannot accept it because they're embarrassed and there's shame that's motivating these actions or these behaviors, and they will lie to cover it up because they cannot be revealed or they cannot be exposed. They are ashamed, they are afraid, and that's why they're always scanning the environment to make sure that there's not going to be any nasty surprises, or that they can control the situation, because then they know the outcome. The outcome is then controlled. And can you imagine living like this? Can you imagine having to be like this all the time? This is why they have depression. This is why they have anxiety, because they're constantly on alert. That's why they do this, because they don't want anyone to find out that they are different, that they don't accept themselves. And this is the whole reality of it, the blurring of sanity and wellness. And that's really where this disorder really is defined, actually. It makes me really sad to kind of think that such individuals really exist, that they have tried to trick us along the way. The thing is, they do a really good job of it at first. Okay. Let me reword it. They do it, and the con is great at the beginning, but that's because we don't believe that such people exist, and we are not presented with the reality. It's all this smoke and mirrors, and over time, as certain things become apparent, we do figure it out. That's why we're here. That's why you are watching this video. You figured it out. In the end, we do see through their smoke screen. So we should credit ourselves. You should credit yourself, okay? And if we didn't, we still would be with them. We'd still be in their world. And let's face it, it's a nasty place. It's dark, what they do. That these relationships are not healthy, that they are toxic, and that they are damaging, and the illusion. Okay, the two never mix. And this is how we realize that this person is disordered. They use so many tactics to try and hide who they really are.
Why narcissists disappear? Hint, it's not just the silent treatment. By Kim Saeed, narrated by Eva Gray. Find this article and more on letmereach.com. The early days with a narcissist can seem like the most exhilarating time of one's life, as narcissists can be very charming, flattering, presenting themselves as soulmate material. Love letters, poems, candlelit dinners, dreamy getaways, and insane chemistry can leave even the most composed person weak in the knees and dreaming of a fantastical future. Everything seems like a fairy tale when, poof, the narcissist vanishes. This disappearing act can last anywhere from a few hours, a few days, to a few weeks or more. In the beginning of the relationship, these disappearances might come after a lover's quarrel, but in other cases they happen for no apparent reason. When questioned, the narcissist may chalk it up to their phone being out of service, or an emergency that had to be tended to. Over time, the narcissist disappears more and more, blaming you and your intolerable insecurities, dreadful attitude, and lack of appreciation for them and the relationship. It becomes increasingly clear that the disappearing acts, also known as silent treatments, are designed to punish you. When you mention your desire that the two of you solve your problems in a more civilized manner, you're pulled into unending circular conversations in which the narcissist plays the victim and
I gotta install the Chime app today and get started.
Haven't you ever wondered what else is out there?
Hey everybody, it's Shaman Sister Sin, and you're listening to the Meditations and More podcast brought to you by The Little Shaman Healing. That's me, The Little Shaman. Today I wanted to talk to you about what the narcissist is really trying to hide. We hear a lot about the false self of the narcissist and how they create this false self to hide behind, but what are they really hiding? Many people think the narcissist's abusive behavior is what they're trying to hide, but it actually isn't. The abusive behavior is something they use to try to keep the fiction in place. The abusive behavior is not what needs to be hidden, in other words. The abusive behavior is just another tool to make sure that what needs to be hidden stays hidden. What they're trying to hide is far more ugly than that, in the narcissist opinion, and they live in fear that other people will see it. So what is it? It's the narcissist's true self as they perceive it to be. The true self is, of course, not the fake nice one you see, and it's also not the abusive terror that you see either. The true self is a weak, worthless, unlovable monstrosity that has no redeeming qualities at all. This is how the narcissist sees it. You've likely never seen it yourself unless the narcissist in your life has decompensated to the point that they were suicidal, and even then you probably didn't see the actual true self, but more of a reflection of it filtered through their other masks. The true self is generally extremely immature and undeveloped, like a baby. It may not even be able to communicate with other people, which is similar to what we often see with DID, or what we used to call multiple personality disorder. This is what the narcissist is hiding. Something they believe is so ugly, so defective, so deformed, so shame-filled, so repulsive, so hideous and awful that it must be hidden at all costs, because anyone who even looks upon it would run away screaming in disgust. This is what they believe they are. It's really no more realistic than their positive view of themselves, but unlike their false self, the false positive self, the narcissist doesn't know that this negative perception is not real. They know their projected self is false because they constructed it specifically in opposition to the true self. The true self is perceived as weak, so the false self was created to be strong, etc. That's why they will go to such extremes to keep the false self in place, including discarding, abusing, or even killing other people who threaten to expose it. The false self is the only barrier between the world and what they think is the truth about themselves. By any means necessary, that true self must be kept away from the world. This is also the reason they're often so paranoid and hypersensitive. If you were walking around living a lie that you thought was going to be exposed any second, you'd be paranoid too. This is why they behave abusively when their narrative is threatened. It's desperation. It's fear. They have been hiding that ugly, horrible core their entire lives, and it's essential to their survival to keep it that way. We've all heard stories where someone was living a false life, such as pretending they've been going to school to be a doctor or something like that, and they're going to be graduating soon. They play it out as long as they can, but when the date of their supposed graduation gets closer, they become more and more frightened that they're going to be exposed for the loser and the failure that they believe they are. Instead of admitting the truth to their spouse or simply leaving, they kill their spouse because they can't tolerate the shame of exposure, which is also the reason why they never told their spouse that they stopped going to school in the first place. They would rather their spouse die than find out. Shame is a core part of the narcissistic personality. Not normal shame that you might feel if you did something wrong, and not remorse, but deep-seated pathological delusional shame for who and what they are, which probably stems from their childhood, and it has nothing to do with anything they have or have not done. It's just there all the time. They carry that with them always. Anything that provokes that suffocating pathological shame is reacted to with rage. Threatening their perception and their narrative of things threaten their false self, and this provokes that pathological shame. They react with rage and abuse in an attempt to get the person who is threatening to expose them to back off. This may not even be that person's intention, but because narcissists are so shameful and protective of that core self, they will often overreact with abuse and rage. It's kind of like what we refer to as a guilty conscience.
Like pulling a gun live on
They
YouTube.
fear people are trying to expose them because they know they're hiding something. It's shame-driven paranoia that the false self will be seen through because they know it's false. Everything the narcissist does is designed to protect and hide who they believe they really are, both from the world and from themselves. They live in a very carefully created fiction of illusions, projections, and denials. This is why they're dedicated to misunderstanding you and why they insist that everyone agree with their narrative. The fiction can't work if they're the only ones that buy into it. It can't work if other people keep insisting it's not true. They discard, abuse, gaslight, manipulate, and do everything else in an effort to preserve this very, very fragile fiction. It's really a primitive, childish, and very ineffective defense mechanism because they're reminded of the truth 100 times a day, and they are miserable because of it. They cannot measure up to who they want to be, and they can't accept who they really are. This war is going on inside their heads 24 hours a day. It's no wonder they act the way they do. That would drive anybody crazy. I hope this clears a few things up for you. As always, I look forward to your comments, questions, and suggestions. So please keep those coming. Once you've been listening to the meditations and more
to my channel, Exposing the Narcissist. My name is Clarice and I focus on all things narcissism. If you are new here, please make sure you subscribe. And to all my subscribers, please like my videos. Every little helps. So let's get into it. And today I want to talk about when the covert narcissist goes silent, because based on my video, when the narcissist talks too damn much, I got a few comments which I appreciate, because this video was inspired because of such comments. So keep them coming. The comments were those like, what about when the narcissist is quiet? But there was one comment in particular by Amelia, thank you, who mentioned that there are narcissists that don't talk at all. Well, I personally do not know any narc that is that quiet, but I do know that there are times when the narcissist doesn't have much to say. This goes beyond the silent treatment, where they are quiet only around certain people. So today I want to talk about what this means or why it happens. Narcissists are extremists, and this case is no different. They either talk too much or not at all, depending on the circumstance. Covert narcissists are very vigilant when it comes to protecting themselves and their reputation. The slightest whiff of a threat, and they put up their defenses, one of them being silence. When the narcissist is in an environment where there is an individual or individuals that they feel unsafe around, they will be quiet and observant. They may be polite with their perceived threat, but when that person is not looking, the narcissist is glaring at them with an intense hatred that can sometimes be seen and felt. It is times like these when the narcissist is too mentally occupied and on guard that they are too distracted to speak. When a narcissist is in an environment where they can put on a show and manipulate, they are most comfortable and they feel safe to blab their mouths. Also, their home is usually their number one safe zone. But when a narcissist doesn't have the control that they want over their family, their house is no longer a safe zone, and the narc goes quiet. The narcissist fears what they cannot control, so they go into war mode and put up their wall of silence. When a narc's home is no longer a safe zone, you can be sure they are being relieved elsewhere, because the covert narcissist needs to talk. It keeps them sane. Also, when the narcissist is silent, they're usually up to no good. They are either planning someone's demise or fantasizing about destroying someone. When the narcissist is like this, you can cut the atmosphere with a knife. I find them to be very tense, cold, and dark when they are like this. This is one of those crucial times when the darkness within them actually begins to show. But whether the narcissist is silent or talking too much, either can be very annoying or uncomfortable. When the narcissist talks a lot, much of it is not worth listening to. But when they are silent, it speaks volumes. Thanks for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe.
For all your support. Thank you guys for all the comments and the emails. I appreciate you guys. So today I wanted to talk about why are some of the reasons, not all of the reasons, but just a few reasons as to why narcissists may go silent on you. Well, you have to remember that the narcissist is not what they portray themselves to be. So this grandiosity that they have, or this show of this high esteem or big ego, that is totally opposite than what they really are. They're really pretty weak on the inside, pretty broken people. They're chaotic on the inside, full of anxiety, full of fear of rejection. You know, their fear of rejection, fear of abandonment, a lot of that is inside of them. They're wounded individuals. And so in order to protect themselves, they build this facade to protect themselves. I'm really hurt. You know, think about it, when a narcissist has been growing up, so either they were in a home with a narcissistic parent, something happened to them, they were hurt, they were abused, but, you know, wherever they were hurt at, you know, they have a low self-esteem, they have low self-worth, you know, they're in fear that they may be rejected, no one will like them, they have a fear, and so it may be something about them that they notice is good. They may be very smart, so they develop into the cerebral narcissist. They may have been very attractive, a very attractive child, you know, so they honed in, and everyone, so that's what they honed in on, because that's where they got the most fuel from, was the fact that people admired them and thought they were pretty, they were talented, they had beautiful voice, they had you know, they were able to act, you know, recreate characters. So whatever it is that, you know, and most people do have good attributes, and the narcissist, you know, unfortunately for some of us, we have to admit, they do have great attributes. Some of them are very attractive, some of them are very talented. You have Hollywood and the music industry, the movie industry, you know, filled with narcissists. They're excellent actors, you know, and a lot of us run to the movies to go watch the actors because they're excellent actors, they're wonderful, but in their personal life, they're tormented, and they torment the people that are around them. And so, now keep this in mind, with that in mind, that's how I keep this in mind, that you're dealing with an individual that's created a facade to protect themselves, and they've highlighted, you know, these attributes, or they have created this unrealistic attributes about themselves that they want people to admire, because this is where they get their fuel. And so this is where they get fuel from people. When people admire them, you know, think they're the greatest thing since sliced bread, you know, this is the narcissist, okay? So now, one of the reasons, or possible reasons, why a narcissist can go silent on you is because you cause a narcissistic injury. So when you cause a narcissistic injury, the problem that we run into is that a lot of times you're already anxious. They keep you in an anxiety-ridden atmosphere. They keep you in fear all the time. They keep you, you know, they keep you under their thumb, meaning that, you know, they saw you're beautiful, beautiful, you're attractive, you're smart, you're this, you're that, and everything that they idealized about you now has become, a weapon against you. Everything that was great about you now, they hate about you because that's not what they have. That is not what they are. You may generally have been a very confident individual. They're not. They created a facade that they're confident. So they hate that about you because of the fact that that's not them. Some of them even hate, for example, I just had a conversation with someone, and I was talking about the fact that this one narcissist is always going into relationships with women that have children. But the problem that he has is he idolizes the girls, but he really, really abuses the boys. And I said, it sounds like, because I know a little history about this particular narcissist, and I said, it sounds like this narcissist is chasing after the innocence in this child because he was robbed of his innocence. He goes after the innocence in the child. He hates the fact that this child is innocent, unflawed, and nothing has happened to them. And that's not the case in this narcissist's life. And so he has a problem with male children, and he attacks them in their youth, and it's usually around the age at which he was molested. And so he goes after these little boys. So now, think about it. So having said all that again, and I'll get to the point. I got you. I heard you. Anyway, but the point is that you may get the silent treatment because you caused a narcissistic injury, right? Now, if you cause a narcissistic injury and they go silent, say you're not together and they go silent, number one, they've already gotten to know you. So they know your weaknesses. They know that you're anxious. They know that you're angry. You're all over the place. And you're going to make some decisions or you're going to do things out of reaction that you've caused a narcissistic injury to cause them to back up for a minute because now they're coming back at you. They're going to figure out a plan. Remember, they're playing chess in their head. And so what they do is they create this game in their head because they got to get you back. They went silent, but they got to get you back. So they're beside themselves right now because you got them. Whatever it was you did, but you probably did it by accident. Who knows? You may have done it by accident. And so you're all over the place now. Remember? So they're coming up with a game plan. And so what they do is they assume that you never change, that you're always the same. And so they already know your habits. They know how you think. And so they predict everything that you're going to do because they've gotten common with you. They know you. And so if I do this is what he'll do. And when he does this or when she does this is what I'm going to do. And this is how it's going to end up. And this is how I'm going to win. They're strategic. And so when you have a strategic narcissist, and see, you have the over and you have the mid-range narcissist, most of them are angry and they may come up with plans. The over one is just kind of, reactive. Everything that they do is impulsive. The mid-range still has some impulse problems, and when they make decisions or they do reactions, they make up a game plan based off of their emotions. So they're angry, so they're doing everything that they can. I'm gonna bombard them with this, I'm gonna do this. And so they don't think that you'll ever come out of where you've been. They never assume that you're gonna grow. They never assume that you might be smart. It's just that they really made you believe, and they actually convinced themselves that you're not as intelligent as they are. And a lot of you have found out that they're the dumbest, smartest people that you have ever met. They're just very manipulative, very cunning, very charismatic, and they know how to talk. Some of them know how to talk, not all of them, but they know how to talk. They know how to manipulate. They know how to get to people's emotions to get what they want, and so they assume that you will never ever change and wake up to yourself. So they come up with these plans, and a lot of them are kind of irrational. They're very strategic at what they're doing, but they never assume that you catch on and you're just equally as smart or smarter than they are. And so they come back, and then most of you say, it seems like they're always winning. Well, the problem with the always winning part is that they already know your reaction. They've studied you long enough, been with you long enough to know how you're going to react. So that means you have to change your game plan. That means you have to stop being reactive. You have to change the way that you fight the narcissist. And the way that you fight the narcissist is not by fighting the narcissist. You have to outthink the narcissist. And outthinking the narcissist doesn't mean that you're attacking the narcissist or trying to get narcissists back, because they know that you're trying to get them back. That's fuel for them. And so you're trying to get them back, paying back for all the pain that they've caused them, when in actuality, what you need to do is step out of the game. You are no longer a part of the game. And then on top of that, everything that they do, you know what they're going to do. You're being taught on the video. You know the things that narcissists are going to do. You know that they know your weaknesses, and they're going to use your weaknesses. And so you have to change the way that you react to them. You have to be non-reactive and responsive. You have to step back and think for a minute. I already know what they're going to do. They're creatures of habit. So they know you're a creature of habit until you change. They're not going to change. They're still creatures of habit. And when you go up the scale of narcissism, a greater narcissist who may be malignant as well, these guys right here know how to be strategic. They know how to be strategic, and they're strategic. They're able to take the emotions out, and they're strategic at what they do. They just, even the greater narcissists, oftentimes do not think that there's anybody out there just as smart as they are. And they're not smart. They're cunning. They're manipulative. They're conniving. Some of them are very charismatic. Some of them are very scary. But they don't assume that anybody is at their level. So we say greater narcissist, but we make it seem like this greater narcissist is greater than anybody else, and this is a person that you're not going to be able to conquer. And it's not that you're conquering them. You get away from them. You disconnect them. Let them be in their own little anxiety-ridden, dysfunctional world by themselves. You have to be a part of that world. A wise person is not a person that's going to sit and fight with a narcissist, even a greater narcissist. You remove yourself from the equation. You fight with yourself. Unless, of course, you have children together. There isn't. But it's hard because a lot of you have been emotionally connected. Well, of course, you're getting a soul tie. That's what we call a soul tie. But you guys have been emotionally connected, and the disconnect from that emotion is what is so painful because of the fact that you're addicted to the narcissist. Yes, you are addicted to the narcissist. They have become a drug. The narcissist is addicted to fuel, and you are addicted to the narcissist. The narcissist is the drug. You see what I mean? The drug to the narcissist is the fuel. Now, another reason why, and this is just one of many different reasons. This is not the all in all. I'm just giving you some opinions and some things that I've seen. Another reason, of course, most of us know that when you get the silent treatment, they're trying to pull in a new supply. And so you have to remember that a narcissist is all about getting fuel. They fuel themselves up. They have to get not condolences. They have to get accolades. They have to get, you're the greatest person on the earth. You're the greatest person in the world. They need that to fuel their self-esteem, to make them be functional during the day. They don't get it during the day. They have to find it somewhere. They have to get that fuel. It's like a shot that they need, like a methamphetamine, that high. I don't know. That's a good idea. That's a crazy high. A crack or cocaine high. They need that high. I've never done any of the drugs, but I'm just making an assumption. But they need that high. They need that to get themselves going. Somebody has to compliment them. They need, so they go look. Even if it is driving around or wearing jewelry or pretending like they're in a video or they look like a movie star, so they have to pretend like they're a movie star or act like, these are those somatic narcissists. They have to, or that cerebral has to be known as being the most intelligent. I need to do something to cause someone to give me a compliment or do something. This is their whole life. And so you have to remember they're all about fuel. They have to be fuel. So they go look for supply to fuel them. When you get that, when they are silent and you don't hear anything, 9 times out of 10 they also could be, not 9 times out of 10, but they're also could be pulling in a new supply. When they're pulling in a new supply, that fuel that they have to have, they're giving that fuel out. Now, some supply is easy to pull in because they've always played this game that makes it easy. So they'll look for those, just to fill themselves up. And they may be looking at a supply that's taking a little longer and is becoming a little more complex and is a little harder to pull in. So they need copious amount of fuel to give out to that new supply to pull them in. But at the same time, they may have another supply that gives them copious amounts of fuel because it's easy to pull them in. So they'll go back and forth to these gas stations, basically gas stations, to fuel themselves up, to give this fuel out, to pull this supply in, because that supply, once I get this supply, I can get a lot of fuel from this supply. It's all about filling themselves up with with fuel. And then the other reasons why they go silent. You could be in a relationship one, they give you the silent treatment. If they give you the silent treatment, you're being punished because you will not do what they're wanting you to do. They can't control you, and your behavior is unacceptable, and I'm going to give you silent treatment to punish you until you get back in line with what I want you to do. Now, in that meantime, don't think for a minute that they're not talking to someone. They've got to have fuel. So if they're not getting the fuel from you, they're getting the fuel from someone. Now, one of the things that I've said before, and the same thing that my mentor said, not all narcissists cheat. Now, majority of you guys, I was just wondering if you cheat. Some of y'all narcissists, you guys know he's cheating, or she's cheating. You know she's cheating. And so a lot of them, a lot of them are promiscuous. A lot of them are cheaters. They're serial cheaters. That's what they do. But not all narcissists cheat. The way that they get fuel is the accolades, the oh, you're so great, you're so wonderful, you're this, the mental, the appearance and everything, because certain positions or certain roles that they're playing requires them to be faithful to their spouse, or they have to play this role. So they play this role and they get fuel other ways. They get fuel other ways, but they're always going to get fuel. They're always going to get fuel for someone. They have to. That's how they survive. If you take fuel away from a narcissist can become suicidal, believe it or not. When you cut that fuel, you cut that gas line off, and they're not able. That's why a lot of times those aging narcissists who don't age very well, look like a California raisin or prune, and they used to look like Beyonce or J-Lo or whoever you think is beautiful, Rihanna or Halle Berry or whoever you think is Cindy Crawford, whoever you think are beautiful, or who is it, Brad Pitt, Morris Chestnut, all those people that you think are gorgeous, whoever, Matt Damon. I'm gonna keep going because I know some of you guys are already naming. You're right along with me naming people. All those people that are beautiful. Imagine when that narcissist, they go from being beautiful, a beautiful swan, and all of a sudden they go to a California raisin, a garden gnome, a troll, Shrek. We can keep going, right? We can keep on going. Or Piggly Wiggly or whatever, right? But imagine they can't rely. They're so accustomed to being a somatic narcissist and being beautiful, they never think that they change. That's why you see, now some of you guys are laughing the other day when I said old folks coming into the club. I don't mean the family reunion. I mean the old people coming in the club think they still cute, think they still sexy, and they're trying to talk to the young folks. The young folks like, ew, you look like Shrek. Or remember when Donkey and Puss in Boots switched and you trying to give them the pretty eyes? They're like, ew, shoot them. That's what they come in the club looking like. And so they think that they still have it, but then they notice that they're not getting supply like they used to. Now, in their mind, they're always going to think they're sexy now. That's not going to change. And most of you guys are thinking like, ew. Most of us think ew. But you know what? There are some people that actually fall for it too. And they think that they're handsome until they get away and the blinders come off and they realize what they were with. You become the Finola in his Shrek. We're looking at you and you mad at us, but we're gonna wait till you come to your senses and show you a picture of you and him or you and her. But these are the aging narcissists where they have to switch over, and sometimes they switch over to cerebral. But what if they can't switch over to cerebral? What if they don't have it to switch over to cerebral? They don't, and so a lot of them become very miserable. They become suicidal. They become very harsh. They become ugly, mean. I've seen them in my office, mean, hateful, just mean, just grumpy, just mean people. Just no matter who did, they're just ugly to professionals, ugly because they don't have it no more. They don't have it no more. They're aging narcissists. So you have to remember that the silent treatment or them going silent, oftentimes, and especially if you cause an injury, and sometimes you don't realize you caused an injury. That's why you have to learn to calm down. You have to calm down and get your thoughts together before you react. You have to respond. They're waiting for you to react. That is your norm. You have to break your norm. You have to break the way that you react to the narcissist because they're expecting it. They know you. They've studied your nature. They know what you're going to do. And so in their mind, you'll never ever change. You'll always do the same thing. And what shocks them is when, now some of them go no contact. Some of them don't go no contact. Some of them give the silent treatment or stop talking to you because you have caused entirely too much narcissistic injury, or they realize there's nothing they're going to get from you. There's no matter how much they try, there's nothing they're going to get from you. You don't respond. You don't have anything to do with them. They can't even get a hello, because even a hello, how you doing, just checking on you, I'm good, thumbs up, to them, that's fuel. Some of you just, I don't want to give them anything. That's their world that they live in. You don't have to worry about it. You can give a thumbs up. They give you a little fuel. That's cool. Especially those of you that have kids. For some of you guys that don't have kids or have any investment with them, don't even give them a thumbs up. They should be blocked. There's no response, nothing. They can't get nothing from you. Sometimes the malignant ones will keep on coming. But some of them were actually like, I can't get anything from you. It is causing me too much energy to pursue you, so I need to just go move elsewhere. So don't always think that a narcissist narcissist is more powerful than you. It's just that you have to get yourself together, your emotions together, and respond and not react. Narcissists know the game plan. You gave it to them a long time ago. Now you have to switch up. And by switching up means that you have to grow. You have to get wise, and these videos will help. So thank you guys so much for being here. Make sure you go check out my mentor's YouTube channel. It is Helen Sadler, Destiny Helper, and she will give you a perspective from a biblical, spiritual perspective about
The definition of narcissistic personality disorder is a mental disorder in which people have an inflated sense of their own importance, a deep need for admiration, and a lack of empathy for others. But behind this mask of ultra-confidence lies a fragile self-esteem that's vulnerable to the slightest criticism. While narcissists might think of themselves as all-powerful and invincible, there are a lot of things which scare them. 1. Relationship commitment. Probably one of the things which narcissists fear the most is committing to a relationship. Narcissists never let their guard down, and being in a real relationship means you can't put up walls and hide your true self, as so many narcissists do. Being that close to someone also exposes their insecurities, and some narcissists are scared that their partners will find out their deepest, darkest secrets. Do you know anyone who's like this? 2. Self-reflection. When it comes to narcissists, a lot of them are in complete denial. For many, the one thing they fear most is coming to terms with who they really are. They like to think of themselves as perfect. They are afraid that if they look too deep within themselves, they will find things that they don't want to cope with. 3. Insults. Narcissists actually fear being insulted more than you might expect. Although they are quick to dish out criticism to others, they simply can't handle a dose of their own medicine. Since most narcissists actually have really fragile self-esteems, an insult can be a humiliating blow to their inflated egos, and it's something they're really afraid of. 4. Shame. Narcissists will do anything to avoid feeling the sting of shame. It's interesting to note that while they fear shame, they don't fear guilt. This means that they fear being seen as unworthy in society and being lower in the social hierarchy. They don't, however, fear the guilt of actually hurting someone's feelings. 5. Lack of admiration. In a sense, narcissists are very much like performers. They crave attention, and they want to be admired more than anything else. They are terrified that their attempts to impress others will be completely ignored. While some people are fine going through life completely unnoticed, narcissists are the total opposite. 6. Getting exposed. Sometimes, narcissists can find themselves in a thick web of lies that they've created. They might lie about their past exploits to impress people, or lie to manipulate others. While these lies might help them get what they want, deep down, they have a huge fear of being exposed and getting called out on their dishonest behavior. 7. Feeling gratitude. Narcissists are also totally incapable of saying those simple words, thank you. Gratitude is a completely foreign emotion to them, and again, this probably all stems from fear. Saying thank you means that they were relying on someone, and narcissists will never admit that they need anybody's help. Lastly, death. Believe it or not, many narcissists see themselves as gods. They think they're untouchable, that nothing bad will ever happen to them, and that everything they touch will turn to gold. But everyone knows that even the most powerful people on earth can't beat death, and this is something that most narcissists are terrified of. If you enjoyed this video and want more content around various psychology or mental health content, don't be afraid
Do you know a narcissist who's perpetually playing the victim role? Someone who hates everyone in the world, or at least a whole bunch of people, mostly those who are different than him or her, because somehow these people are the cause for this person's misery? Have you noticed that often these particular narcissists seem to be completely alone in the world? They have no regular source of supply, and they just seem to be taking out their hateful energy on the world at large. Or they have a regular source of supply, but it's just not quite enough for them. Sometimes a narcissist loses his or her ability to obtain adequate sources of narcissistic supply. This can happen when the narcissist's family and friends have just had enough, and one by one they slowly abandon the narcissist. Or in some cases, the narcissist loses their ability to attract new supply because they get older, they lose their looks, or they become so self-involved that they forget how to do the whole love bombing thing effectively, or any combination of these things and many other things. This is what we call a collapsed narcissist. And in this video, I'm going to go into more detail about what that means for the narcissist and the people in the narcissist's life. What is a collapsed narcissist? That's what we're talking about today at queenbeing.com. Let's get started. My name is Angie Atkinson, and on this channel, I offer free daily video coaching to help you discover, understand, and overcome narcissistic abuse in toxic relationships. I like to call it toxic relationship rehab. Sound good? If so, hit that subscribe button and let's get going. So knowing what we know about narcissists, we know that they really do sort of need that supply to keep going, don't they? But since they need that supply to exist, what happens if they don't get it? Do they just sort of become a real person and start dealing with things like a normal person? Or do they just sort of lose it? When a narcissist is unable to obtain narcissistic supply, what do you expect? Some people are going to call this a narcissistic crisis or a collapsed narcissist. Whatever the label, it's a problem. And often, not just for the narcissist, but also for other people around the narcissist in their lives, whether they're family members, coworkers, friends, whatever, neighbors, they can be dealing with the problem of the narcissist. Now, a collapsed narcissist is simply a narcissist who has not been able to obtain proper narcissistic supply, as in a person to help bolster his or her self-worth, self-esteem, self-confidence, their general value as a human being. They require someone else to do that for them. They cannot self-validate ever on any level. In essence, the narcissist feels like they've been denied the very supply that they need to exist. The proverbial life's blood of the narcissist is narcissistic supply from other people. This leads them, of course, to narcissistic injury, and as the collapsed narcissist writhes helplessly in the pain of not getting what they want, what they believe they're due, what they think that they need to exist, whether it's meeting some big goal or simply getting the admiration and praise they feel they rightly deserve, their whole world starts to feel like it's falling down around them. The narcissist loses self-esteem, and their self-image is merely erased. They begin to self-devalue, self-doubt. They literally hate themselves to the point that they project this self-hate onto everybody around them. Since everyone hates me, they think, the narcissist, well, they may as well hate him back, right? There's no more or very little social life for a collapsed narcissist. Even if they were once the social butterfly, suddenly they've got no one left. People, this narcissist thinks, they're all fake and stupid anyway, so why should we bother to be kind to them? At this point, the narcissist lives in a constant attack mode, attempting to force people around them to provide that much needed supply. Random people, waitresses, the guy at the gas station, their son's 5th grade teacher, whatever. They're overly sensitive about everything, full of rage, full of hate, and they throw temper tantrums that would rival those of a 2-year-old, although that's a little insulting to the 2-year-old. They're outright intolerant, disrespectful, and often even violent toward the people around them in both words and actions. They previously once maintained a certain facade, didn't they, of a nice or a cool or easygoing or friendly or great person to be around. But as the collapse continues, that mask falls away, the facade is gone, and suddenly you're looking at the true face of a narcissist, and it is full of rage and ugliness, hate, general disgust for everything that is humanity. While they are still unable to deal with any sort of blame, criticism, or perceived disrespect of themselves, they are actively projecting their own self-hate onto the people around them in their lives, or maybe random targets like people of different religions, different races, or even different political affiliations. This is when the gloves come off, and the narcissist blasts out their blatant
bigotry and their small-minded ways. This is when anyone who's different than the narcissist is a big target. They are quickly minimized. They are put into a not good enough box, to put it very mildly. This is often when narcissists will go all out to abuse their partners, physically, mentally, and otherwise. Some narcissists will excessively cheat, gamble away their money, and even physically abuse their partners and their children in these situations. In some cases, it's worse. The narcissist might even cause the death of a partner or a child. It's horrifying, the things that they will do, the depths to which they will sink. Following the falling of the narcissistic facade, the mask, and the outrageous abuse that comes after it is the rock bottom part of this whole deal. This is when they get depressed. They become suicidal. They threaten or even commit suicide. They might also take a serious action to hurt someone else or other large groups of people. Some of this has occurred in the news in recent months, and I won't mention it here because YouTube doesn't like it when I do that, but y'all know what I'm talking about. Some narcissists are going to get desperate enough to even enter therapy at this point, but it never works. And of course, they just go completely bonkers if they don't enter therapy, and they might completely lose control. And again, this is when you hear about them in the news. The loss of supply triggers defensive behaviors from the narcissist, such as the whole "I'm going to leave my family and start a whole new life" thing. The narcissist literally flees the scene of his or her failures, or what they see as failures, and attempts to just start all over again with something new, someone new. If you look at the narcissistic personality as a sort of house built on stilts, like around here they have them on the river. They have these homes built up on sticks, almost stilts. Imagine that the lack of narcissistic supply is kind of like a big strong wind that comes through and knocks those houses down right into the river. The narcissist then has two choices. They can try to become a whole person and develop real coping skills, rebuild the house as it were, and in some cases obtain new supply. Or they can stay in that collapsed position and from it poison everything and everyone around them in their world. What do you think they're going to do? So back to the house metaphor. The narcissist could burn down all the other houses around them in order to take revenge on everything and everyone else who, in their minds, caused this to happen to them, caused the big strong wind to come through. What it all comes down to is that regardless of the reason for the narcissistic collapse, the narcissist blames everything and everyone except him or herself for this collapse. The narcissist must believe ultimately that they are the victim and that nothing is their fault. If you're stuck now with a collapsed narcissist, there's one escape and you know what it is. You've got to leave. You've got to never look back. You have to go no contact and you have to resist the urge to try to help them because they are unhelpable. If that was a word, I don't know. I just made it up for you. They won't be helped. You can't do this anymore. You've got to start to take care of your children if you have them, and definitely yourself if you have them. No contact is the only solution for a collapsed narcissist. All right, this brings me to the question of the day. The question of the day is, do you think that you know a collapsed narcissist? Have you ever seen a collapsed narcissist? And what did that look like for you? I see this a lot in elderly narcissists or middle-aged narcissists, especially those who once relied on their looks as part of their shtick. But what have you seen? Let me know. Share your thoughts and your experiences in the comments section below, and let's talk about it. All right? You might just help another survivor learn that they're not alone. That's all I've got for you right now. Thank you so much for being a part of my day and a part of my life. And hey, thanks for letting me be a part of yours. It really does mean a lot to me. I'll see you soon.
It's my mission to teach others what I know to be true. You really can create the life you want. Take care of your body. Take care of your soul. Nurture the real you and introduce him or her to the world. Be comfortable in your own skin and in your place in this world. Take your spot. Take it now. And the universe will take its cue.